even just walk down the new Riverwalk, and they're there in about 5 minutes.
I've always liked downtown areas. I like little shops and like to see people walking around, and that was one thing that kind of struck me when I first came to West Bend. I noticed that there were a lot of cars parked downtown, and there were people walking around. I'm like, everyone's really engaged in the downtown, which I thought was awesome.
Service and install locks. My partner and my uncle, Terry Barana, started back in 1985. I came aboard in 1993, so I've been doing it 30 years. We moved up here to our new location on North Main Street up in Barton in 2001. I enjoy working with my hands, but I also enjoyed getting to run the business, try to figure out how to grow it. That can be pretty rewarding, and it's also rewarding when you solve a problem or you help a customer out figure out how to secure something. We do have emergency service that will do 24 hours to cut keys for customers, and we sell safes and do light servicing of safes, as well as keyless entry and electronic security systems. What I've noticed here is that there's a lot of families in town who genuinely seem to really love the community. And then you have people like, Terry, who just did it for years and years because there's sort of a pride, like a civic pride in what you do. Terry was always very charitable, so we donated to the Kiwanis Club and Boys and Girls Clubs. Threshold was for us our main recipient of charity work that we did for years. Terry obviously has been very involved, always spending his time putting up all the Christmas decorations here in Barton. He did that almost single-handedly for years. Just very community-minded person, having been born and raised here. A lot of people don't know that our Barton firehouse on the corner of Barton and Main, that Terry was the one who painted the Build, Boost, and Buy sign on there. And I'd say the proudest thing is just being able to keep something that's been going for so long and been successful, and learning how to do all these things and keeping up with the changing trends and the technology.
Hey there, West Bend. Mayor Joel Ongard here, and boy, do I have some awesome news to share with you today. Back in June, the City of West Bend joined the prestigious AARP network of age-friendly communities. Our steering committee came up with an amazing initiative called Smile West Bend, supporting multi-generational inclusive living environments. But here's where we need your help. Smile West Bend is launching the Age-Friendly Community Survey from September 18th through October 31st. It's available to all West Bend residents age 45 and up. Your voice matters, folks. Please take the survey, get your smile on, and join us in creating an age-friendly West Bend. When you're done with the survey, celebrate with a dance party!
Enjoy being outside in downtown West Bend. Experience an outdoor recreation destination like no other. Walk the Riverwalk, ride the Eisenbahn State Trail, or kayak the Milwaukee River. While you're here, enjoy a meal or happy hour on a patio, weekly music nights, and take a stroll through Wisconsin's #1 farmers market every Saturday. Experience the excitement of downtown West Bend today and see the progress.
I am just fantastic. I'm so excited. Do I always feel like we're going to Yeah, Elizabeth's going to be out photos. I trust it. It's just like the commercial vibe for it.
Good evening, everyone. It is Monday, September 25th, and I am going to call to order the Licensing Board of the City of West Bend.
I'll take to the library.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call to order the Licensing Board of the City of West Bend. We've got one item on our agenda tonight, and that's a change of ownership for Applebee's located at 2510 West Washington Street. Alderman Butchlick is excused absent tonight. With only 3 members on this board, we do still have a quorum to conduct this business, correct? Mm-hmm. And so, Mr. Zingsheim, I'll ask you for a motion on this.
Motion to approve?
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Obviously not. And that motion carries 2-0. No more business before the Licensing Board. We will be adjourned.
Finance Committee is called to order, and we have only one item on the agenda, which is approval of the 2024 capital budget and 5-year plan. The mayor, the city administrator, and I have discussed this, and since we only obtained the proposed budget on Friday, this is on the agenda for approval. However, I'll leave it up to the board, or the Finance Committee rather, after we discuss this, if you're comfortable voting tonight, or otherwise we can wait for approval at the next meeting and give you time to consider this. Yes, Mr. Allen?
We'd need a motion to discuss it, so.
Why?
Because it's listed as an action item, correct?
Well, you need a motion to postpone consideration if you choose not to move forward, but that would just be, again, that would be if people aren't comfortable with moving forward, somebody can make that motion after the discussion. You can have a presentation on the item prior to discussion amongst the council.
All right, thank you.
Can we have the discussion tonight, though?
Yeah, you can discuss it, and then if people want to move to postpone consideration to the next meeting, that's fine.
Fine. So I guess I'll open it up for discussion, and I'll start because I did have a few questions, and I guess I'll take each department at a time. Max, traffic signals?
Good evening.
So the $16,000 a year, is that for that company that comes every year to synchronize them?
No, this is different. This is for maintenance of the equipment itself. We started this several years ago when we were installing emergency vehicle preemption devices on the vehicles and on the signals. We came to the point where all our signals are equipped with these emergency vehicle preemption devices, and so now we're looking at replacing other hardware in the traffic signals. So some parts of the cabinets are well beyond their shelf life, the traffic controllers, and so we have a long list of items to upgrade in our signals, and we're trying to do it little by little with that line item coming back every year.
I understand. Thank you. That was all I had for you.
Okay. The other item you were talking about is in the operating budget.
Oh, okay.
The signal coordination.
Coordination.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Library, wait, I beg your pardon. No, it's parks. Sorry. Sorry if I scared you there.
It's a very small font on the document.
EAB response plan is, what is that, Mike?
So Emerald Ash Borer response.
Oh, okay.
So it's our street tree planting after EAB infestation, and we should probably update that title also, because we're using this funding for EAB response and post-construction planting. So Laurel Drive North was constructed last year. This year we replanted trees in all the viable planting locations. Laurel Drive South was reconstructed this year. Our goal is to replant that for next year. So we've been following up, the year after the road construction projects. We survey the sites, send a letter to all the residents, hey, you're eligible for 1 or 2 or 3 trees, whatever it might be, and then we include those in our planting contract. It's normally it's a very successful program. The residents are normally pretty pleased because we come in, take out trees before the contract, road gets, redone, and then we can kind of replant the following year. Our residents really appreciate that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And then I just had one last thing for Public Works, Doug. In 2025, there's a block of trucks to be replaced, and there's another block in 2028, and I know that in between there's a couple things that are being replaced, and I see the Moorbark is going to be, has to go. Are you going to be able to keep it going till 2028?
We do have it up and running.
Okay, good. I didn't add those figures up. I guess I should have done that. From a dollar standpoint, is it pretty balanced over the years? Because it's just a block that was staring at me when I saw it.
Well, when I started here at the city, there was a 12-year replacement program on the plow trucks, patrol trucks, and a lot of the other larger equipment. Back in 2013, where it came from, the city had a lot of cash and bought a lot of trucks, so we're trying to play catch up with that. So you can see with the list of trucks there, I mean, we're replacing trucks now at 22, 23 years old versus the former 12-year program. So, there's only so much funding allotted, so a lot of those trucks get pushed down from year to year. So in 2025, do we expect to see all those trucks? I would love to, but in reality, they'll get weeded through and determine which ones we need, which ones we can afford, and it'll get moved down to 26, 27, 28.
Okay.
But it shows the need, for the equipment.
Jay?
Yeah, I might be able to just help shed some light on the document as a whole. Thanks, Doug. Thanks, Jed, for your questions. The requests that you have before you today are not just for 2024, but they're for 2024 through 2028. And in order to get down to, and I'm going to ask you to skip ahead to the end, because it's hard not to look at the end of a budget anyhow when you're reviewing it. But we have been borrowing the last few years at a clip of $3 million, and that shows up on the top of the subset there below the gray line. The $3 million CIP borrowing, with $2 million of that being dedicated to roads and $1 million of it being dedicated to all the other departments. And so when your question is about Public Works and replacing that $1.25 million worth of trucks in 2025, Doug's answer is appropriate because that's what he thinks he needs. In 2003, we were fortunate enough to buy a lot of trucks that are coming due. That $1.2 million that's in Doug's 2025 area is more than what's currently allocated for all of the other departments to split amongst themselves. And this isn't a new thing. This is something we've been dealing with as an organization the best we can over time and continuing to chip away at the worst truck. And that's the conversation that Doug and I have. What is your priority? Same thing with Mike in the Parks area. And the other ones get shifted off to the right. Is it kind of scary to see those big numbers? It is. Is it something that's at some point this body is going to have to deal with and potentially borrow more? I think it might be.
That was a question I was going to ask, yeah.
I will talk through the rest of the numbers and then maybe just buzz through, and happy to announce or answer any of the other questions, and the department head team that works on CIP is here. But so the second number underneath the 3 million is the 1.8 million. That's the balance of our ARPA funding. So we received $3.3 million that were to spend by 2026. This expends those funds on 2 roads that are highlighted in the engineering area in 2024 and completes the balance of the spending of our ARPA money. So we would have spent all of the $3.3 million on road improvements, road reconstruction, which is something that our constituents have continued to ask for. In addition to that, the tan area that you'll find in engineering is for TIF borrowing, 1.9 million. That's for the TIF 16 Sand Drive reconstruction. We're designing that road at this time and constructing it in 2024. So our residents can expect to see a brand new road on Sand Drive in the very near future. The following, then the last number on that page is something that we have done in the past where we've had so much need within an annual budget that we just felt like we couldn't push any of those items any further. So that's asking for another $490,000 in addition to the $1 million that we're borrowing for all the other departments. Now, it's not additional $490,000 of borrowed money. It's to be used from unspent 2023 funds if we're fortunate enough to have them. And at this point, we think we might have unspent funds from 2023. And or fund balance. So if it's a some unspent fund balance amount and then using fund balance itself to accomplish the rest, that's how this budget is built. Again, we worked with the department head team that's in this room tonight. And I also want to mention that it's not, it's only the levy departments that are general fund levy departments that are represented here. The utility area does have CIP, and the communications area does have some CIP. Both Jess and Ruth are here. They can talk about some projects that might be coming up if you have any questions, but those, just to be clear, are not represented in this budget. These are only the funds that represent the general tax levy. Alderman Dolnick, if you desire, I can buzz through them real quick, and then if that might be helpful.
I'm sorry, I guess I didn't know the order tonight. If I could just say 2 quick things.
Absolutely.
I'm glad Kilbourne Avenue, for anyone who's listening, Kilbourne Avenue is finally on the timetable. And going back to Public Works, I do understand the problem with the replacement cycle, and I know that history, and I wasn't questioning the need. It was just, I was wondering, in the theoretical future about smoothing out everything, but you've covered that, so please continue.
I'll just maybe hit some highlights, starting at the top with airport. We have a couple of CIP requests that are being recommended. A mower and the broom. The broom is an actual broom head that is replacing a tired broom head. We do have a roof repair, a small number in the PD area for City Hall. And then Fire Station 3 has a roof being proposed for 2024. Our roof experts indicate that this is the worst roof in our system and really needs to be replaced. And Fire Station 3 is one that might see some modification to it, but is a station that's staying in that location and one that we should be caring for sure. And then popping into engineering, which is next, you can see the traffic signal number that Max already mentioned. I'll just buzz through, Max, if that's okay, and they can ask any questions of you for more detail. Sidewalk, we have historically budgeted for $100,000, but we're looking to budget a smaller number, bond for a smaller number in 2024, just to try to get everything in. The TMDL for our MS4 permit, you can see that bold number includes the next several numbers behind it, the 93,000, sorry. Those are some small, and Max can talk about the details of them, but this keeps us in compliance with the DNR and tries to filter out the bad stuff before it hits our rivers and streams. And then the next bold number, 5.7 million, is a big number. I shared with you that we're borrowing or bonding for $2 million of this 5.7, but the total, including the ARPA money, the $2 million borrowed for, and the TIF money, balance out to this $5.7 million number. And then you can again see what those are used for. Latex epoxy, we do that annually throughout the city, putting fresh paint down. And then some of the maintenance of our roads, the cracks and joint sealing, and then mastic is something that's relatively new to our CIP budget. But as you know, the Public Works Department has a mastic machine, magical machine that's really helped us maintain the roads. This funds $65,000 worth of product that goes into that machine. The Willowview Estate area had a binder course on for some time, and the developer was never able to complete the surface course. So that actually deteriorated, and thankfully some of our projects in 2023 came in under budget, specifically Laurel Drive, and we're able to carry forward the unspent monies to complete that Willowview Estates. The constituents out in that area have been really, really patient for a long time, waiting for their final lift of asphalt. This takes care of a revised base and a final lift for them. And then jumping into the roads, the reason Hawthorne is split up from a white line item and a blue line item is because we're using the ARPA money, and in finance we try to classify that use of the ARPA money very clearly. So it's $338,000 worth of ARPA money plus the $141,000 above it, which is the non-utility portion. And then you can see the numbers off to the left if you look at water and sewer, and those are their contributions to that project as well. Again, non-ARPA money, but water and sewer CIP. And Butternut, Maplewine, Sand Drive, we talked about. So the roads that constituents will see newly reconstructed in 2024 are Hawthorne, Butternut, Maplewine, Sand, and Summit, which is a road that has received lots of attention over the last few years, a road that's in really poor quality at this time. That shows $1.5 million of ARPA money applied towards the fix of Summit. So one that we're pretty excited about getting done. And when you see a real small number of water and sewer, it just means that the water and sewer laterals are not in need of reconstruction. Is that correct, Max?
Yeah,
and that's
main line is mainly going to be adjusting structures, valves, and manholes.
I don't know if there's any questions about those specific roads. And so those roads that are being reconstructed in 2024 would have seen a design number in 2023. So for example, the next man up road of Kilbourne, starting Kilbourne and Paradise, Heather Drive, those are being designed in 2024, and they will have a subsequent reconstruction number behind them in 2025. If you skip over a column, that's a large number. So designed 1 year, reconstructed the next is kind of the path in engineering. Max will answer any specific questions that you have about them or the engineering budget. Fire has two items. The $35,000 for wild fighting gear. Chuck and his team are applying for a grant to fund the other 50% of that. And then this next one down, similar to Public Works and what Doug explained, we have historically tried to replace trucks at 20 years. You can see this one is going to be 25 years by the time we receive it. It's a split truck. We started this a few years ago and have had to continue it in fire. $400,000 in 2024. That orders the truck, makes a payment in 2024, and then we make a subsequent payment of the balance of that truck. So it's really over an $800,000 truck that's completed in 2025, and we'll be lucky to get it by 2025 by the conclusion of that build. Those trucks take a long time to come to us at this point. Infotech has zeroed out items for 2024. One of the aldermen asked me a question about this, and there's some requests in the subsequent years. This is an area where we do have the communications fund balance fund items that are of citywide benefit. So we do fund servers and website redesign and things of that sort out of the communications area to save the CIP for the other departments whenever possible. And so Jess and Kurt Lulich worked through those requests and the funding of them. Library has a modest amount in 2024. The clock tower has been something that has been in disrepair for some time. This attempts to get that working properly, and then some window blind replacement, just accomplishing a small portion of what the real need is, and we push some of that number off until 2025. In parks, these are Mike's priorities for 2024. You can read through them on your own. I think maybe one to highlight: the Villa Park playground replacement has been in need for some time. Pretty excited about having that for the community. They have a really active sub-community of the Villa Park area that kind of has taken that park on as their own. This, I should note, is not for the total estimate of the cost of replacing the playground. Mike is confident that they can apply for and obtain a grant and/or fundraise for a portion thereof to get that completed if need be in 2024. And then skipping all the way to the end is police for 2024 requests. I think the highlight there is the next-gen dispatch to keep us in EZNet compliance for the continued dispatch. If there's any questions, all of our experts are in the room and prepared to answer them. If there are any high-level or not so complicated questions, I'll attempt to answer them. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Jay. Okay. Any questions? Yes.
I do have one question, Jay. As it relates to the budget for pavement maintenance, does that include any money from the county as was included in the referendum this last spring?
It does not.
It does not.
No, if we were to receive money from the advisory results of the advisory referendum, the 20% of the sales tax, that would be additional money that could be spent on roads.
That we could then move some of those projects forward from 2025 into 2024 in subsequent years.
Correct.
All right, thank you. So for the citizens of West Bend who voted in favor of that referendum back in April, now is your opportunity to contact your county board supervisor to let them know that they should include that in this year's biennial budget, which would amount to, if I'm not mistaken, roughly $800,000 for this year and $800,000 for next year to help advance improving the roads in the city of West Bend.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Alderman Allen.
When the truck replacements are done for Public Works and Parks, do you guys horse trade good truck, bad truck? Do you play cards and figure out which one goes first? How does that work? I mean, it seems like some of these are a fungible resource. Oh, you want to bring Doug up to let everybody know he lost the cut?
No, so many times when we are done with the equipment, we just sell it at auction because there's not a lot of value left in a 25-year-old truck, things like that. But one good example is right now we have a 1988 5-yard dump truck. It's an old DPW plow truck in our inventory. We still use it. That truck is going to be replaced with one of our Public Works trucks. When they get a new truck, their old truck that they were going to get rid of, we are going to retain that down by us. For us to go out and purchase a brand new tandem axle dump truck, something like that would be a misallocation of tax dollars. So for something like that, for us, a slightly used, that 20-year-old tandem axle from Public Works works out great for us. It really does.
Called it gently used.
Yes, gently used. And I also wanted to make one comment. Jade kind of mentioned the Villa Park playground situation. Great citizen group up there, probably one of our strongest citizen groups that we work with in the community. They've donated hundreds and hundreds of labor hours volunteer hours to that park up there. A new shelter, playground equipment here and there. We did apply for a grant, a manufacturer's grant with through Minnesota, Wisconsin Playgrounds. We applied for $104,000 of equipment. I found out about 15 minutes ago we are awarded the grant. The $104,000 in equipment will cost the city of West Bend $64,000. So the $70,000 that's in the budget, we will need that even beyond $70,000. We have to do some excavating, drainage work, fabric, playground curb, et cetera, et cetera. So we will need to do some fundraising, but happy to announce that the $104,000 of equipment for $64,000 is absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait to tell those folks up there are going to be pretty happy. So, thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Is that it, Mark?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anyone, no other questions? So what is your pleasure? Do you?
Motion to approve the capital improvement budget as submitted.
All right.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. We're adjourned.
I'd like to call to order the Common Council of the City of West Bend. It is Monday, September 25th, 2023. It is 6:50 p.m., more than 24 hours in advance of this meeting. Notice of the time, place, date, and subject matter of the meeting was posted in accordance to Wisconsin state statutes. I'd like to ask our clerk to confirm this meeting was properly posted.
I confirm.
Please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We do recognize a quorum tonight with Alderman Putchlick excused absent. We'll start with our consent agenda. We have 2 items on our consent agenda tonight, the Applebee's change of ownership and the approval of the capital budget and 5-year plan.
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Dolnick and Alderman Zingsheim. Any comments, questions, discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Our action items for tonight, the first one is an ordinance repealing and recreating Chapter 19 of the Municipal Code, which is our airport section. This was presented at our last council meeting. I assume there's been no changes since then.
That is correct. Nothing has changed in what we submitted to you previously, and we had no comments received.
Great.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Model and Alderman Allen. Any comments, questions, discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Our next action item is an ordinance to rezone 14.75 acres of land on the south side of Sand Drive and south of 245 Sand Drive to add a planned unit development overlay district over the existing I-1 Industrial and Public Service District and RM-4 Multifamily Residential District for design flexibility and shared site utilities and amenities. And the applicant is the West Bend Senior Partners, LLC. Jim.
Good evening. Tonight I'm asking council to consider an ordinance to put a PUD overlay on that 14.75 acres. This is to help with the coordinated development of that property. It originally started out as one property, but then has since split into 2. Since there are multiple facets to this that are shared and whatnot, we're asking that the council consider putting the PUD overlay on that to facilitate that redevelopment of that area.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Dolnick and Alderman Model. Any comments, questions, discussion?
Just if anyone's interested, because this has been an ongoing saga, this did not represent any significant change to the site plan.
Thank you for that. Any other comments, questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Our last action item tonight is a resolution reapproving a 1-lot certified survey map and accepting right-of-way dedication for Schuster Drive and Wildwood Road, located on the west side of Wildwood Road and north of Schuster Drive. And this applicant is Bud Abel from Shepherd of the Hills. Jim.
Thank you. I'm just asking the council to reapprove this certified survey map and accept the road dedications for Wildwood and for Schuster. The certified survey map actually expired in accordance with state statutes for the platting section. So we're asking council to reaffirm the approval of the CSM for that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Model and Alderman Allen. Any comments, questions, discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Any other announcements, comments? Go to the order of the Common Council. Alderman Allen.
Downtown is looking great. We got lots and lots of really nice new sidewalks that you can walk on. I suggest that you do, and while you're there, you can shop and you can eat and just enjoy the sidewalk.
Wonderful. Anyone else tonight? Alderman Allen.
Tonight is the West Bend School District annual constituent meeting, I believe it's called. Basically, this is when you have your chance to attend a town meeting style meeting of the school board. So that is going on at this time at the West Bend High School Silver Linings Auditorium. So if you have time, be fun to go. That's it.
Great, thank you. I spent quite a bit of time with Jay today discussing this capital improvement plan, and I know many of you called him and met with him and the department heads throughout this process, and I appreciate the conversation and questions that happened tonight. The 5-year plan illustrates that we have a dire need to replace things like playground equipment and trucks and obviously roads and roofs and radios and everything in between. And so I want to thank you, Jay, and your team for putting this together. And it is, like Alderman Allen said, it's tough when departments are fighting for money, when we're trying to represent constituents who want low taxes. And I'm thankful for the ARPA money that we're using up. This is the last year for that. We're using it all for roads. You know, we've got a healthy fund balance that we're tapping into a little bit this year to do a little bit more. If you take a look at that $490,000, that's essentially redoing Maple Wine. And so putting that money to good use. But just want to thank the council for their good discussion and questions, and of course you and your team for the hard work putting this together. Anybody else? No more business before the council tonight. We stand adjourned. Thanks.